greatness of another, the Oklahoma City Thunder, quietly, almost silently, having one of the great seasons in history, taking on the Pistons last night, and it was SGA early. He didn't have a particularly good shooting night last night, just 10 of 26. Thunder up 6 at the half, but then SGA stepping back, knocking down the three. 69 consecutive games with at least 20 points for SGA. We'll explain the history on that one coming up in a few minutes. Now, 3 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. Thunder, the lead down to 6. But, Alan, when Lou Dort is going to get this roll, you know it's going to be your night.
Yeah, it's a friendly bounce, the home rims, and certainly for Lou Dort, he has developed that three-point shot into a weapon.
He scored 14 last night. SGA looking to put it away. He had a game-high 33. So SGA, or should we call him MVP, and the Thunder win their 11th straight, 119-103. They are the second team in history to win 50 games by double digits, joining the 71-72 Lakers. That team had Wilt Chamberlain and Jerry West and won 69 games and the NBA championship. It is considered one of the greatest teams of all time. This OKC team is probably not getting enough attention for what it is doing this year. Alan Hahn, the historic, and I have a whole essay coming up a little bit later this morning to put into perspective the history this team is making. We know they're the best team in basketball. Right now, they may be even better than that.
Yeah, when you think about the amount of wins that they're putting together, what they're doing at home, the fact they've only lost to an Eastern Conference team one time this whole season. I mean, that is incredible, the year that they're having. But as we all know, you're judged by now what you do with these great seasons. Can you get that championship? And we all know the 73-win Warrior team was not able to do that, and they'll always have to carry that.
Marcus, I was telling you in our meeting this morning, I covered the 96 Bulls, the team that won 72 games, which at the time was the record, at the time was the first team ever to win 70. And they had a mantra, basically, that started in December, which was, it don't mean a thing if you don't get the ring. So this regular season has been brilliant. But is this your pick to win the championship?
It's not. It's not. This team, it's not deep enough, right? You have to talk about the depth. You have to talk about the guys that actually been there. When you talk about the lights, it's way different, right? This team has been healthy all season. They have a young gun that they have brought into the MVP of the league and has been playing out of his mind, right? What happens when they double team him? Who's the second guy? Who's the third guy? Who has experience to go to the guys when it gets a little rough, right? They've been playing really well this year, really well. There haven't been a lot of downs. But what happens when that happens?
They are going to be the second youngest team ever to be a 1 seed since seeding began. The only one younger was themselves last year. But they did go through a little bit of a playoff run last year. They won a series. They lost a tough one in the second round. That's not enough experience in your mind for them to go through whatever it's going to take to get through the West?
Definitely not. Let's go back a little bit. I was on the Boston Celtics team, right, when Jason Tatum was a rookie. When Jaylen Brown was in his second season. We got to the Eastern Conference Finals and lost against a LeBron James team, right? That's getting down to the mix. That's getting your feet wet and seeing what it's like to get to the mountaintop and getting knocked down and have something to prepare for in the second season. They do not have enough guys that's been through that.
All right, we'll talk more about that as we go. Shams, in the meantime, let's put into perspective what this franchise is, what this team is right now, and one person who deserves a lot of credit for it.
Yeah, Sam Presti and that Thunder organization, I don't think it gets talked about enough in terms of how you put a team together. It doesn't happen just overnight. They get Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. They've drafted really well. Chet Holmgren, I think last night, I don't know if we showed his highlight, he might have been the best player for the Thunder last night. You watch how they played. But 2 moves they've made over the last 4 years. One, drafting Josh Gay, allowed them to go get Alex Caruso. And then another move that went way under the radar. No one looks at it. They traded Trey Mann, Vasilije Micic, and Davis Bertans for Gordon Hayward. And at the time, everyone was like, oh, they got Gordon Hayward. They got Gordon Hayward because they had an expiring $30 million contract. What did that turn into? Isaiah Hartenstein. So they've been able to draft well. They've been able to add to their team, and they still have dozens of first-round picks, dozens of swaps, dozens of second-round picks. If they ever, down the road, wanted to go get a big gun, potentially.
And we'll see if they wind up doing that. They may.
105. All right, mention those Knicks. They haven't been terrible without Jalen Brunson, but there is a drop-off since the star point guard has gone down with an ankle injury. 6 points fewer per game the Knicks have been able to generate, and fellow Villanova alum Josh Hart's shooting percentage drops about 10% in those games.
All right, our senior NBA insider Shams Charania is with us on SportsCenter this morning. Shams, Jalen Brunson said on Sunday his goal was to return before the end of the regular season. What are you hearing about when we could see Brunson back on the court?
Randy, good news is expected soon for the New York Knicks. I'm told that Jalen Brunson is progressing close to making his return to action. There is optimism that he could be back within the next few games. They play a back-to-back over the weekend, Saturday in Atlanta, and then Sunday at home against the Suns. He could be back as soon as this weekend. He's been out for the last month or so. He has resumed full basketball activities, but for him it is important. Being back comfortable, they need him 100% or as close to 100% as he can get going into the stretch run and the playoffs.
They're such a different team when he's in the lineup. The Knicks close out the regular season on April 13th against Brooklyn. Meanwhile, the NBA, Shams, is investigating Ja Morant for appearing to mimic shooting a gun toward the Warriors bench Tuesday. This was during Tuesday's loss to Golden State. The incident occurring during a timeout, about 20 seconds left in regulation. NBA is also looking into the Warriors' Buddy Hield's gesture before Morant's. The NBA has twice suspended Morant for brandishing a firearm on social media. Shams, what more can you tell us here?
Randy, the NBA started its investigation on Wednesday. That included calls, conversations with Ja Morant, Buddy Hield, other involved parties. I expect that potentially to continue here today. As we saw in footage, Buddy Hield was potentially seen doing a gesture to Morant first, and then they were both shown here on camera. The sense around people I talked to in the NBA, around the NBA, is that this is probably a fine at most, but the NBA is going to do its due diligence, is going to do the calls and the conversations that are necessary yesterday and over the next several hours.
Well, habitual line stepping here. Morant and the Grizzlies have lost 7 of 8 games. As Shams Charania with the latest on SportsCenter. We got the Heat, we got the Celtics. The Celtics going without Kristaps Porzingis. Illness reconditioning was the classification. Al Horford has a toe problem. Drew Holiday has a shoulder issue. The Heat have a Jason Tatum problem. And then later a Jaylen Brown problem. And suddenly this massive lead for Miami is just whittled down to 6 after Tatum dropped a couple more of his 16 points. But in the fourth, man, it was Tyler time. It was Tyler the creator. Let me be your hero. It's a triple.
You're so close to my ear.
Don't worry about it. What cologne are you wearing? He had 2 threes. Bam Adebayo floating home a couple of his 21 to go with 6 dimes. And the Heat would pull away here. Hero had 25 for the 4th straight game. It's a 21-point loss at home for Boston, their worst home loss since 2021. All right, let's head to the morning shoot-around. Catch up on the best from the association last night. SGA, another 30-point game, 33 in total. It's his 48th game with 30 points this season. That's 11 more than any other player. It's no wonder he's your MVP favorite. Not mine. Mine's Jokic. Same with Gary.
I agree.
AD was also busy on Wednesday. 34 points, 15 rebounds, and 5 blocks. Davis also delivering the game-winning shot for the Mavs. Game-preserving defense on Trae Young. It was his first game winner in the final 5 seconds since the 2020 playoffs against Denver. The Celtics had their 9-game win streak snapped by the Heat, who have now won 6 straight of their own. Tyler Hero was the star for Miami, dropping 25 in the win, 21 and 6 dimes for Bam.